let's get this rocking and rolling. So, welcome everyone to Dragon Thunder Talks. Here we are in June already. I can't believe we're in June already. I think everyone's saying that though, aren't they? Where's the year gone? Time's going super, super fast. So, we've got three speakers today. Aren't we lucky? So, make sure you've got something to drink, and if you need to have a break, then disappear. That's fine. We won't take it personally. So, our first speaker. She calls herself the Dragon Doula, which I think's a lovely title. And she's a multi-dimensional entrepreneur, political activist. I remember the last time you were standing by that state building. It was beautiful. Internationally known author and speaker. So we're lucky to have her. And she's been working with dragons and for a while now. So I'm interested to hear what she wants to share. And if people have got questions on the way, please ask. Let's make this very interactive. Caryn wants to make it interactive so she's not talking at you. So welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited. I know it's been so long. I can't believe the Dragon Thunder Summit was almost a year ago. We're coming up on number two, which I'm so excited about. I'll be there again, which is great. I love that I got invited back. And yeah, I was at the state capitol last time because dragons and I have a whole different relationship than I feel like a lot of people have relationships with dragons. Uh, Hi, y'all. I'm Caryn O'Malley, and I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, USA. And the Dragon Doula is because I help humans become dragons, like birth your dragon, not just play with them, not just dance with them, not just keep them this external entity, but actually embody the fires of the dragon. So the ferocious grace, impeccable standards, radical trust, exemplary integrity, and supreme protection that dragons give us. So I told Kevin I'm not really a prepare before I show up person. So definitely make sure that you're interacting if you have questions, things like that. And I mostly just channel and see what comes up if y'all are okay with that. No?
Sounds perfect.
Fantastic. Kevin, do you have anything maybe to start us rolling?
Yeah. I always like to ask people, how did they first meet dragons? When did they come in? Give us that beautiful story of how you first met dragons, and so people can hear that. That's always a good place to start.
Fantastic. So I first met dragons in utero because my mom is a dragon in Chinese astrology, and I am also a dragon in Chinese astrology. So the daughter of a mother dragon, when I was a baby, I still have it. This beautiful picture that my mom's friend, who's an artist, did of a mom dragon and like a baby dragon with like balloons tied to it hung above my crib. And my parents were always really into medieval, King Arthur. We went to so many Renaissance fairs. I just went to a Renaissance fair last week. Like, I'm still so into medieval stories. And I was never taught that King Arthur was a myth. I was taught that it was real. So, a lot of things that were mythology to other people, I was taught it was history. So, dragons are just a part of all of human history, and they just were always around, literally always. For as long as I can remember, my kid's dad, we were married for 15 years. He has this giant dragon on his back, a tattoo that he got. His whole family was always into dragons. Anytime anyone like was like, if you could be a mythical creature, I'd be like, dragon. If you could be any creature, dragon, for forever. They've just always been around. And when they really came in as a part of my work was back in 2019 when I started. I guess I was channeling in what lots of people call light language, but mine had so much parcel tongue sort of vibes to it that I called it dragon tongue instead. Because I was like, yeah, it's kind of, but there's so much like breathiness and if you've seen Harry Potter, we know what parcel tongue is. And it felt so big. And what I loved about it was that it was so big, but then it was also like pocket size for my convenience. If y'all have seen Mulan, right? Eddie Murphy, he's like, I'm pocket size for your convenience. And that's the dichotomy, the paradox that I love about dragons is that it's always so big, but also you get to decide, are you dealing with the macro or are you dealing with the micro? So literally my whole life, I guess, is really the answer, but I could tell you so many different stories of how dragons impacted me, but from the second I was conceived, dragons were around.
I love that. That's great. And so you say they're there all the time. How did you first sort of start working with them, if you do even still?
Yeah, so I do work with them, but as much more as like equals,
Mm?
I guess is the best way to put that. And again, I don't like hierarchies. I've studied so many pantheons of so many different deities. And at some point, I came across, I don't even know what teachings. I guess the teachings of Paul Selig really helped, the channelings from Paul Selig, to like recognize that who I am is a fractal of divinity. So I am divinity incarnate. You all are divinity incarnate. Like we are just fractals of the divine, physically manifested in form, here to be our unique selves, just be you. I'm doing a whole challenge for this exact purpose, actually. Just be you. So Caryn as dragon, I just happen to be in a physical body right now, like a physical human body. But when I go into meditations, a lot of the times I see my neck get really big and I get these big wingspans and I can feel the claws. And when I started really working with them in 20, I guess it was 2019, I went skydiving and I got the dragon's eye view while skydiving and literally just had this thought of like, all these poor little people on the ground will never see this, right? Like less than 2% of adults ever go skydiving. So just looking at this ground, be like, oh my God, this dragon's eye view, how can I be like this big all of the time? How can I serve and help so many people at once? Because I was able to actually see like this whole valley and all of these people and all of these, I don't want to say like little humans, but that was what was going on in my head is like, oh, these little humans, they don't even know what they're capable if they would just open their wings and soar. And so I started working a lot with Diane Cooper's Dragon Oracle deck. That was a huge one for me. I'd actually bought it as a gift for my kid's dad, and he never touched it. And then I started using it constantly. And then I started doing these bespoke dragon invocations, which were, again, it was like activating people into their dragon selves. This is where the Dragon Doula idea came, was that I wasn't helping them do anything more than like take the egg off of their face, like the shell, like everyone's just walking around like half a dragon with like a shell on their head, not recognizing that they're like really a dragon, and bringing them into their unique frequency using the dragon tongue activations that I was doing and helping them connect to different parts of themselves and what planetary system are they from. And I was taking all of the knowledge that I have. Again, I've been studying astrology my whole life. I've been studying astronomy my whole life. I had a very weird witchy pagan mom and a very logical like Star Trek nerd dad. And I am an only child. So, like, the combination of that, and then also having exchange students from all over the world while I was growing up every single year, we hosted over 14 exchange students. So, I was constantly having the world brought to me and all these stories brought to me. So, when people call me a know-it-all bitch, I actually take it as a compliment because I actually do know a whole lot. And I'm okay with that. And it was that bigness that the dragons gave me or their imagery gave me that helped me to start recognizing, okay, where am I? Where do I have claws? Right? Where do I have sharp teeth? Where am I breathing fire? Maybe at places that I don't even really want to be breathing fire at. I was real good at burning bridges back in the day before I'd really grounded into this energy. Where can I fly? Where can I dive deep into the depths of the ocean? Where can I be okay in the frozen tundras? Because dragons have the capacity to be in all these extreme situations. And then they also have their treasures and their hoards and their safe spots. And really, dragons just be being dragons until some knight comes along and tries to kill them. Like they're not really doing anything wrong unless the humans piss them off, right? And that was the whole concept for me was that it wasn't, again, that there was an external, yes, they're external. Yes, I can talk to the emerald dragon. Yes, I could commune with, but it's the same way I could commune with Lakshmi, right? It's the same way I could commune with Horus. It's all these different aspects of the same divinity, but how am I actually embodying that? And how am I, as Caryn, being a dragon and being able to use my claws when I need to, like when I'm at the Capitol and I'm lobbying for positive legislation. Yeah, those senators get a real fiery side of me, right? But then there's those in my inner circle that know that I will protect them at all cost, and that I will come to them if there's something going on, a communication thing, and I might seem ferocious, but it's because I'm so caring and so graceful and so loving. There's all these paradoxes that you can play with when you think about dragons, and then how you yourself embody that and show up in your daily life, knowing that at any time you could, yeah, astral project and go fly around the world if you wanted to. We all have that capacity. It's not it's not special, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, it's not that like dragons need to be put on some pedestal. It's that you need to open your fucking wings, excuse my language, and fly to their level and like go actually hang out with them and stop being like, oh, I got this download from the Black Diamond Dragon and she's just so big and so much better. No, she's your equal because you are her. She's just a reflection of you. Yeah, makes sense. We liking that?
It makes sense. I'm liking it.
How do I see dragon riders? I mean, my boyfriend's a dragon rider on a regular basis. I know what y'all are saying, but that's always my response to that question. It's that like, okay, you want to be the rider right now? Great. You can be the rider. You can be a human on the back of a dragon, you know, how to train your dragon, that whole thing. Love it. But you can also be the dragon. It's just, again, what role are you playing in? I know that there's been the whole idea of, oh, what are they called? It's a very specific word, W-Y, I cannot remember it. But the dragon riders, right? The ones that were supposed to tame the dragons. And that can be, lots of people use that in like twin flame ideas or partnerships, that like there's the dragon and then the one that has to tame the dragon or ride the dragon or whatever. But that's, for me, it's never really landed. I had my children's dad and I also often got into this argument that he was trying to keep the dragon safe and protected, and I'm like, but I'm a dragon, how the hell are you supposed to protect me? That's ridiculous. Like, no, I need to be out of this cage. So dragon riders, I think if you can really connect to a partnership, right, then you can allow someone, again, someone to ride you on a pretty regular basis and be okay to submitting to that. But it has to be a willing submission instead of this idea of, I captured a dragon, I trained a dragon, I forced this dragon to commit to submit to me by doing all these different things, and now I get to ride the dragon. It's much more like a wild Mustang situation where the Mustang has to gain your trust and the Mustang has to like actually allow you into their energy before they can be trained. It's not, you can't force a wild Mustang into submission. They will literally die. They would rather die than be your bitch. So when you come to the idea of a dragon rider, why do you want to ride a dragon? Is what my question is. Like, why do you want to be that, or why would anyone want to ride a dragon? And I always come down like, I'd much rather be a dragon than ride a dragon, because if I pissed off the dragon, she could just like buck me off and then I'm free falling in the middle of nowhere and I'm dead. So I would rather be the dragon than just be riding the dragon. That's my personal opinion on now.
I love it. Anyone got a question you want to ask? Keep this rolling.
Don't be afraid, I don't bite. Well, sometimes I do, but not hard.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm loving all of this. I see you now. I've deeply integrated with my dragon. Diana Cooper's deck is amazing.
Mhm.
And I came up to like contracts that I'd made as a dragon
Mhm.
that were soul contracts.
Mhm.
that have been following me through lifetimes. And I'm not really sure where this question is going, but I know I have a question for you. So I had a relationship with another man who was a dragon. And we're both very much in our dragon forms, and we had a contract of divine union for lifetimes. And it causes a lot of pain because not understanding what that connection was. And now I've cleared that contract, but I still feel that connection. And I guess I'm curious if you've ever heard of anything similar.
Oh, honey, I've been through everything similar. Oh, sweetness. We do
Yeah.
this to ourselves so much. And what I find about this whole thing, I mean, really what you just described was a twin flame, right? Like, or a soulmate. We all have different terms for it. We've all heard it before. But the soul contracts, what I find really amazing about being alive right now in 2024, or really if you started waking up around like 2012, there was another big wave around 2016, 2018, 2020. It's like every 4 or so years, there's this huge like wave of consciousness where more and more people reach that tipping point and they're like, oh, all my crazy Delulu witch friends are actually not as Delulu as we thought they were. And what I love about that is that we're choosing to rewrite the rules, right? So you can end your contracts and you can clear your contracts. Or what I've done, I've taken several clients through this process where we go and we burn them. We literally go down into the depths of whatever it is. That's one thing. My life purpose gene key is 29, the faithful devotee for anyone who likes gene keys. And that means that I'm the depths of the deep. Like I go down there willingly. Let's go strap it on and find the shadows and find the darkness and go as deep as we have to into our past incarnations, our intergalactic incarnations, wherever it was that we originally did that. And instead of just signing it and clearing it, burn the motherfucker. Like, be done so that you don't ever have to deal with them anymore because it's not serving us at this juncture when we have such a high concentration of beings shifting into that higher consciousness. A lot of those contracts were because we were free floating. We're in these dark ages and we need that one person who sees our light, right? We needed them in during the witch burnings to keep us safe or whatever it was. Like we needed them back then when like most of the globe was still not awakening. But now that we know that the point of all of this is to ascend Gaia or help in her ascension, the soul of our planet, the dragon of this planet, help her shift into higher dimensional spaces, help all the beings on her also shift into those dimensional spaces. We don't need as many of these soul contracts that we used to. And yeah, we thought like, let's sign it for all time and all eternity in the third dimension, but we're shifting into the fifth dimension. So we don't need third dimensional contracts anymore. So with the couple of experiences I've had, again, my kid's dad, we've known each other since we were 12. And that contract has to be rewritten on a pretty regular basis because of all of the different ways that we've incarnated together. I had a very intense twin flame situation during the pandemic that changed everything, and I had to go in and burn it. I had another really intense contract with a man during my divorce. That was, again, all of these different kind of breadcrumbs. But what I realized is that all these men in past lives have been my keeper, going back to the dragon rider thing, right? I've willingly given them some of my power because at the time it wasn't safe for me to be in my full expression. But here we are in 2024, and I'm a grown ass woman. I don't need no man, is sort of the vibe that we all get to have now. And we get to incarnate in that without needing those contracts. Like my current partner, my boyfriend, he and I don't have one of those. It's really awesome. Like we've known each other in past lives. Our charts are really similar, but there's no like contract. It's like, okay, well, we're ascending. You want to Want to do the ascension with me? That sounds like a kind of cool party. You want to do that right now? Right now, right? There's not this like, where's it gonna go? All of these other things, which is what we talk about when it comes to being present, right? And being here and knowing that it's only this present moment. Past life contracts, past lives, they're all occurring actually simultaneously. So can you allow yourself to get that big and go into your Akashic records and go into those planes and decide, I don't need a keeper anymore. And I don't need to keep anyone else. I get to be fully and completely sovereign. And if people want to join me for this chunk of the journey, great. But we're not contracted. We're not bound. We're not tied together in any sort of way. Does that help your question, Chantal? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you.
You're so
I followed a
welcome.
lot of that and just a little bit more that I was missing. It
Fantastic.
feels so freeing
Yeah, it is. That's what it is.
in
It's
a
about
relation
liberation.
to be in a
True
relationship
liberation.
without a contract. It's just
Yeah.
like a breath of fresh air. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me see. Da, da, da. I'm gonna scroll back up. I saw some questions pop up. Hold on one second. Oh, someone saw an orb. I love that. Orbies. There have been twin flame cutting cords. Funny thing is, I'm now able to be friends. Yep, my twin flame happened in the lockdown. Lots of us had to do it during the lockdown. It's real interesting. Someone's asking about new to dragon energy. Where did dragons originate from? Were they, yeah, source. I'm gonna go real Sophia codes on y'all for a second. How many of you know the Sophia codes? Anybody know the Sophia codes? Because it's a real good one. I had a really beautiful moment right before lockdown happened in 2020 where I got to go to Kaya Ra's event in LA. And the message that I got during that was that Kaya Ra was terrified of the dragons and that she was going to stick around Ascended Masters pretty much. And we've seen that, actually. If you've continued to follow her, she continues to speak a lot about Ascended Masters. But in that book, she talks about how Sophia, which is the divine feminine aspect of divinity or Christ consciousness, that everything comes from dragons, that there are two Mother Sophia dragons, and that everything is birthed from the heart womb. So my business is actually called Heart Womb Leadership for this reason, that we are all leading from source. You are either a part of the all, and by the all, I mean you wouldn't have any concept of all these different little screens. There's no concept of I or you when you're with the all. It's just the all. And then once you choose to fractalate to become whatever in all of your different lifetimes and you have to pass through the heart womb of the Sophia mother dragons. And then here on planet Earth, you would have passed through the heart womb also of Sophia Gaia, the dragon whose energy encompasses the planet. So the answer to where does dragon energy come from? It is energy. Like it is source energy. It is the Kundalini double helix. Like it's the oldest of the magics. It's the oldest of all magic. Anyone who says other magic, I promise you it still came from dragons to begin with. Because, and I'll tell you why. Who here is a word nerd? Let me know if you guys are word nerds, because I am a word nerd. I love etymology more than anything in the whole world. So without looking it up, does anyone know the etymology of the word dragon? Anybody? No? Okay. So the word dragon, broken down, so word dragon, large serpent. Okay? We can agree? It's a large serpent. There's no specifics to wings or anything. It literally is just large serpent. Now the word large can't break down any further in any sort of etymology at all. Like it just is. Large just is. Large, small, right? It just is. So the word serpent then can be broken down into clear light. And the word clear, again, cannot be broken down any further because it is clear or it's not clear. And light also can't be broken down any further. So the word dragon is actually one of the simplest words etymologically because it's only got the 2 layers, and it translates to a large clear light. That's what I mean by its source energy. It is the beginning of everything because a dragon is a large clear light. You shine as bright as you can to hopefully other people see you, and hopefully that light is bright enough that they can come and just, I talk about often that people come and plug into me and that I'm like a giant power source and that they're filling their batteries because I can't run out. I'm plugged directly into source. I'm tuned in, I'm tapped in, I'm turned on so vibrantly that I attract people, and sometimes I'm blinding. Sometimes I'm so bright people start attacking me and they want to douse my fire and I'm like, you're cute. And most of the time they need to scoop a little bit of light from me. They need to be held in that way so that they can remember their own light, right? The Marianne Williamson quote of by shining your own light, you're unconsciously giving people permission to do the same thing. So when I say I embody my dragon, it's that I'm embodying my source consciousness by being a large clear light, by speaking only truth, not my truth, the truth. And the truth is that in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. But I like to switch the word God to love. So in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was love, and the Word was with love. So as long as I'm constantly serving through love, I might kind of come off as a know-it-all bitch, like I said, but it's not from this like ego, I have to be right. It's, I love you. Let me lead you. Let me show you how you can live in the light and even in the dark, in the primordial void. I love the void. I hang out in the void. My whole business around helping people coordinate chaos, directing the crises. When you're in the middle of the storm, that's what I do. But we don't hang out in the shadows. We don't chill with the lies. We don't listen to the things that are telling us that we're not good enough and that we too much and that we're all these other things. So I know that was a very roundabout way of saying that, answering that question, but dragon energy is source energy. Like it just is because it's a large clear light. And all the other fractals of it, all the other ways they've shown up are just ways that still bring you back home to that same message. Your own personal dragon, all the dragons in Diane Cooper, all of the dragons that we all have connected to in all of the different ways, they're still all just fractals of divinity, helping us lead ourselves back to the knowledge that we are also fractals of divinity. Yeah. I'm skipping to the bottom. Is everyone a dragon? Yes. Everyone's a dragon. That's my opinion. We're all dragons. And it doesn't need to be like right now, but be in the multiverse, right? In the multiplicity of all of the different ways that your soul has incarnated across all of time and space and all of the different iterations in which it could. Yeah, you got a dragon form out there somewhere, and you're capable of connecting to it the same way that you're able to connect to your past lives, or you're able to connect to your Octorian self or your intergalactic self or your Pleiadian self or your Syrian self or whatever. There's a dragon self that you can also connect to remind yourself of, again, the bigness. Like, how big can you get? How bold are you willing to be? Are you willing to know that you have impenetrable scales so no one can hurt you? Are you willing to breathe fire to clear out the fields that have gone rotted and you need to clear them out, not just pulling out the roots, but actually like burning it to the ground, and then having the tenacity to rebuild it using your claws, using your wings, using your might strength, because you don't need anything else but you. You're completely self-sufficient. You've got you, and that's all that matters. And anyone else who comes into your reality is a reflection of you. And that's it. That's all. You are all just reflections of me. I'm a reflection of you, and we're all just dewdrops on a rosebud reflecting each other. How does astrology connect with dragons? I don't know. It does. It doesn't. Astrology is one of those things that I think we get a lot. Again, it's this pedestaling. That's my message right now, Kevin. I guess that's what we're going on. We don't need to pedestal anything. One of the biggest things that I give my clients is I call it a spiritual detox. And I tell them to take their tarot cards, their crystals, their astrology charts, their human design charts, and put them in a box, a literal box or a folder or whatever, and not touch it for a whole moon cycle. From new moon to new moon or from full moon to full moon. What happens if you don't carry 7 different crystals in your bra and in your pockets, and you're not checking your tarot card every day, and you're not constantly needing to like sage yourself, and you're not praying to 17 different deities before you walk out of the house? What happens if you just trust in your own frequency and your own capacity to know that your intuition is divinity? And most of them don't usually, like, I barely use that Diane Cooper deck anymore, to be honest. Like, every now and then I might get drawn to some of my cards. Every now and then a friend of mine will want a tarot reading, and I'm like, sure, yeah, let's play with cards. And usually it's exactly what we were already talking about for 20 minutes before, but they needed the cards to tell them, even though I've been telling them for the last 20 minutes, right? Because I'm a channel. So when you put any power outside of you, when you say, oh, I forgot to pray today, that's why I got into this car accident. No, that's externalizing your power. That's outsourcing your power. You have to come into the knowing, the absolute knowing that you are a fractal of divinity, physically incarnated, and how you serve is by being you, without the bullshit, without the trauma, without the victim stories, without all the blah, 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 blah. Just you. Weird, unique, powerful you. That's what's the most important thing. So if you're someone who's constantly like, oh, Mercury's in the microwave again, or oh my gosh, there's a planetary in alignment tomorrow, that means that no, honestly, I tend to like something's happening, and then after the fact I find out, right? Oh, Mercury's in the microwave. Oh, of course it is. No wonder my computer like broke all the way. But I don't sit there being like, oh my God, Mercury's in the microwave. I can't get onto any of my calls. I'm never victimized by the planets, is what I'm saying. I never take my astrology chart and victimize myself from it. It's another tool of power. It's another fractal of me. It's another piece of the blueprint. When I look at my human design or my gene keys or my astrology, I choose, am I dealing with my tropic chart or my sidereal chart? There's aspects of my tropical chart that land more in my heart as true than in my sidereal chart, and vice versa. There's aspects of my sidereal chart that I'm like, oh, okay, that rings more true. And that's about knowing my internal like frequency so well that I can feel that truth. And then I can also feel all the lies. And that took years and years and years of, honestly, like, I was suicidal from the age of 7. I didn't want to be here anymore. The amount of times that I've tried to unalive myself is countless. And yet I would keep waking up and I'd be like, I killed myself last night. Why am I still here? This is ridiculous. And so Everything Everywhere All at Once, if you guys have seen that movie, love it. It's fantastic. That's what I started realizing, was that my soul came here to do something. I still am not quite sure what that is. I used to say it was to be president of the United States because that feels real big and real important, right? But like something that I can't die, essentially, is what I figured out. Like I can't. I might live to be 774 for all I know, because I don't understand how it's possible that I'm still physically here. But what I do know is that back then I was carrying all this extra weight. I loved my victim story. I loved talking about how I was abused as a kid and how I had this thing and how I was abandoned. And then, oh my God, I had an autoimmune disease. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was 21. I had degenerative arthritis in every single one of my joints. My MRI scans, looked like, not MRI. Anyway, yeah, the MRI, I had 70-year-old joints at the age of 21. And I was bedridden. And I was depressed. And I was all these other things. And I loved my victim story. And I loved talking about how everyone was going to leave me. And I was also a very spiteful, petty bitch who just was spitting fire and venom at everything that I could. I didn't like that reality. I didn't want to be in that reality anymore. But I kept living through my suicide attempts. So obviously something needed to change. And what needed to change was me fighting so hard against the fact that I am big. I'm 6 feet tall. I know you can't tell because I'm sitting in a chair, but I'm 6 feet tall. I take up a lot of space. I walk into a room and everyone stops and stares at me. Half of them are wondering why I'm there, and the other half are wanting to get to know me. And that's okay. And more that I allowed myself to trust that I am supposed to be here, that I love the feeling of being alive, the more that I got to enjoy the taste of food, the more I enjoyed the feeling of the simplicity of being a human, the just like the grass under my feet, the smell of warm baked bread, all of these things, the more I felt lit up, the more I attuned to, oh, I enjoy this, I don't enjoy this, the more I'd stopped talking about these victimizations. I cured myself of the autoimmune disease. My most recent CAT scan showed that I've got the joints of like a old mid 20 something, and I'm in my mid 30s. So I reversed all of the degenerative arthritis. I reversed all of the fibromyalgia. I haven't had any of those flares, and I kind of came back to one a few months ago, I won't lie. But guess what? It was because my headspace was fucked. That's what happened. I started going back to telling myself all these victimized stories, and I was bedridden for 2 weeks because of it. And then I realized, oh, I fell into that timeline again. I'm back in that timeline. I don't like this place. And so I just kept changing my internal story, remembering that I'm a dragon. I'm here to share my light and my energy and my frequency through ferocious grace, impeccable standards, radical trust, exemplary integrity, and supreme protection. The fires of the dragon. As long as I live within those 5 pillars, within the fires, and I dance in the fire of transformation, and I hang out with people that are going through crazy chaos in their life all day long. I do this whether or not I was getting paid for it, and it's real cool that I get paid for it, but I promise you, every person in my life, they find me when they're going through a transition. They find me when they're going through a moment where they are at their absolute darkest, the place that I know so well. And I say, hey, honey, I got a lantern. You want to get through here? I know. I know that what you'd rather do is opt out, but I can probably promise you that if you press that opt out button, you're just going to wake up tomorrow real mad that it didn't work. So let's not do that. And let's go this way instead. Because there's no point in trying to like force yourself into anything other than delulu till it's tralulu, honestly. Delusion yourself into any reality you want. That's all that matters. Love is the most important frequency. What about love? Love is the most important frequency. We say that, but on the scale, if you guys know the emotional scales of, have you seen this? Like where they like put the emotions and then how does it radiate? And it's like shame is really low, and then apathy or whatever, and then like love is up here. The emotion that radiates higher than love is authenticity. Authenticity radiates at a higher frequency than love does. You can go Google this if you want to. Yeah, the Dawkins scale. Thank you. Authenticity radiates at a higher frequency than love. So if all you do all day long is how can I be authentic to me, it doesn't matter if you smoke weed or do psilocybin or have a cigarette or drink alcohol. None of that matters. Because at one point we were all doing peyote, drinking some crazy beer, like in one of our lifetimes when we didn't have all this judgment around it and all this shame around it. If you shame yourself, then you're in shadow. Should, shame, shadow all start with the sh sound, which means like silence, right? Shh, 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 shh. I should be doing this, or I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be smoking. I shouldn't be drinking. I should be totally vegan and essentially living off of air. You guys have like spiritual friends like that? Because they annoy the fuck out of me, to be honest, right? Like I have to have I should be totally pure, and I should be celibate, and I should be communing with the this, and I have to have only organic and all of these other things. Yeah, stop shitting all over yourself. Exactly. Like we don't need to do that. Instead, alchemy. What is alchemy? Alchemy is the magic, the ability to transform lead into gold, poison into medicine. It's your choice if that glass of wine at your cousin's wedding is going to completely kill your vibe and your ability to speak to spirit. Or is it just a glass of champagne and you're just drinking a glass of champagne to celebrate your cousin at her wedding? It's your choice. It's a decision that you're making. To decide something is the most important part of being a dragon. You can decide right now that there's going to be $5,000 in your bank account by Tuesday, and then follow that feeling. It's the biggest part of my work right there. Your own feel. How do I feel if I think, like, let's do a thought experiment. Y'all okay with this? Just real quick, close your eyes. Think about this. If somehow, some way, by Tuesday, $5,000 is in your bank account, how does that make you feel in your body? What's the feeling in your body? 5,000 extra dollars in your bank account. I know we could all not even just use it, but it's nice. Like, oh, even if you don't need it, it's like, oh yeah, I got an extra $5,000, right? You feel that in your body. And what would happen if you only made choices between now and Tuesday that kept that feeling in your body? And I mean every choice from no, I don't care. Okay. So, right. So if you have that feeling, if every choice, it was like, what am I going to eat today? What it feels like when I have that extra $5,000. Oh, a hamburger? Cool. I'm going to go eat a hamburger. Right. Who am I going to see today? What music am I going to listen to today? What emails or content am I going to put out for those of you who might be entrepreneurs? What am I going to do so that I always feel this vibration? And by doing that, not by bypassing, if there's a feeling that comes up, oh, I'm scared, I don't know how I feel about that. It's okay. You can feel that feeling. You can feel scared for a minute, but always coming back to the resonance of how you feel when you think about having that extra $5,000 or whatever it is, having the love of your life in your holding your hand, or living in the dream house, or having whatever. If money's not something that lights you up, choose something that lights you up and make that the desire. Find the feeling and then only follow that feeling for the next 48 hours and literally watch it happen, because that's what alchemy is. Alchemy is being able to take all the other things that are going to come. Your ex is going to text you, some client's going to do something, your mom's going to whatever, and you just being like, okay, nope, I feel real upset about that for 45 seconds or 90 seconds, I think is how long it takes for an emotion to actually run through your body. And then after that, you just keep moving and coming back to the resonant feeling of what it feels like when you already have the desire that you want. That's what it means to be authentically you, because who cares? Nobody else cares whether or not you have the money. It's none of their business. It's what you desire more than anything. You deciding that nothing else matters than what it is that you desire, and deluding yourself into believing that it's possible. 4 years ago, I was in an abusive marriage and very upset and suicidal. And now here I am, happy, free, successful business in my own house and all these other things. Anyone who logically was around back then said it was impossible. And I say it's impossible. Come on, let's go. I love impossible dreams because they're the most fun to like actually go for. Okay, I'm gonna look. Why do we have allergic reactions? Ooh, I love that question. Why do we have allergic reactions then? Density. It's just density. It's shadow again. Any of your physical things, it's attached to a belief structure. I know I sound crazy. Some of you are going to want to cancel me, and that's okay. It's because you believe you have a food allergy. you decided that you did. I know that sounds real rough and like unempathetic, but you're talking to someone who cured herself of multiple autoimmune diseases. And the way that I did that was by deciding that I didn't have it anymore and acting as such and moving as such and choosing to only move in a way. So instead of being afraid of the foods, right? I'm not saying go eat cashews and die. Please, if you have like a death allergy to cashews, that is not what I'm saying right now. What I'm saying is, how does it feel to not have the allergy? And then doing the work that's going to, and by the work, I mean moving in a way that's going to allow you to continue to feel the way you feel when you think about not having the allergy, and that will alchemize and eventually make it so you don't have the allergy. I've watched it with so many clients and so many friends. If you know anything about the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, I was compared to him a whole lot before I had ever even read one of his books. And I think I've only read like a half of Becoming Supernatural. And by the time I got halfway through, I was like, nah, this is all the stuff I've already like known for years. I don't need a doctorate. I already get this. This is what I teach. But that's what it is. It's those people that have stage 4 cancer and are told they've got 5 weeks to live, and then they go in for their biopsy and the cancer is completely gone. It's the belief that the cancer could be gone and acting as such that allows them to heal. They decide they don't have cancer, and then they don't. I know. It's you want to fight me. I feel some of you being like, "Oh, I want to fight you." It's okay. That's okay. But the rule that I live by is no one and no thing has power over me. No one and no thing has power over me. Unless I let them. Let's go back to that dragon rider just for a real second, right? I'll submit every now and then, but really, if anyone knows anything about, those sorts of sub-dom relationships, the sub's still really the one in control. It's a whole other conversation, but like it's true. The sub is really still the one in control because the dom has to be watching the sub at all times and making sure that they're being taken care of and held. So the sub is still the one in control. So you still haven't really actually given all your power away. Why are we so okay? I love that. Hold on. I want to just go back real quick. Would you know how to cure fibro? Yeah. Girl, come and talk to me. Y'all find me on social media. If you've got questions about bodies and autoimmune diseases, yes, all day long we can do that. Come find me on the social media lands. Why are we so freaking stubborn to actually believe we don't have it? Right. So that's the rub, right? Dragons. This is Dragon Thunder talk, so let's bring this back to dragons, and I love this. Dragons don't worry about where their next meal's coming from. Why? Because they can go pick up a cow off a field and eat it. Right? It's already there. Everything is abundant. A dragon's not worried about where its cave is. It will always find another cave. It's this borderline nihilism, okay? Where nothing matters unless you make it matter. And I want you to think about the word matter as like actual matter, right? Like E equals mc squared, energy is equal to mass times the speed of light squared. So matter or mass is equal to, let's see if I can remember this, energy divided by the square root of the speed of light. The only thing that works at the speed of light in your human body is your mind. Electrons firing super fast, neurons. So between your heart and your mind, between your liver and your mind, we got neurons all over the place, right? We know about the gut neurons and all of that stuff. But neurons are the only thing in your human body that move at the speed of light. So the density, if you were to look at me 4 years ago again, or even 6 years ago, I dropped half my body size in 5 weeks doing naked mirror mantras on accident. I didn't even mean to do it. I was trying to feel safe and sexy in my body. I actually wanted to have the body. I didn't understand why my then husband wanted to have sex with me. I didn't get it because I didn't find myself sexy. I thought I was overweight. I had always had body dysmorphia issues, adding also to all the suicidal stuff. And that led me to want to feel as pretty as he said that I was. Real weird way of getting about that. But I was like, I want to feel sexy. So I started doing these mirror mantras. I feel beautiful. I am beautiful. It's safe for me to be seen. It's safe for me to feel sexy. It's safe for me to show my body. And all these things. 5 weeks later, I go see my massage therapist who'd known me for almost a decade. And he's like, "Hi, Caryn, where's the rest of you?" I'm like, "What do you mean, where's the rest of me?" He's like, "Girl, you don't, like, I've been massaging your body for almost 10 years, and I'm telling you, you left half of it somewhere, and I don't know where it is." And I literally went to Nordstrom's and got measured, and from age 14 to the age of 30, I was a size like 14 American, large, extra large. And I go into the Nordstrom's and they measure me up and they are bringing me size 6/8. So size 8s, sixes, so it's half, and smalls and mediums. And my brain didn't process it. It took me 3 years of going shopping for me not to autopilot to 14s when I went to buy pants. And like, okay, I had actually gotten to a point where I got all the way down to a 2, and I didn't like it. I felt very anorexic and didn't enjoy that level of skinniness. So my avatar, right? We all get to control the mass completely. It's all a choice. I feel really beautiful and sexy at a size 6/8 medium. And that's where I've been solidly. Doesn't matter what I eat. I went through a crazy divorce. I was eating like a bachelor for a good 2 years of that, when before I had been like vegan and whatever other people, I did do my vegan time. I did my time as a vegan. But it doesn't matter what I eat, right? I know alchemy. I can alchemize anything. Period. Like I'm not to the point where I can drink bleach yet, but eventually maybe I could, because there's no limit to what I'd be able to do with this power. Right? Again, I'm not suggesting anyone go drink bleach, but like that's the point, right? Like you'll see videos when you guys go stalk me on social media. I only recently quit smoking cigarettes. And it was literally like just woke up one day and was like, "Meh, I'm done with it. It's fine, no big deal." But for a good couple of years there, cigarettes and tobacco and communing in that way was useful for me. And never once was I like, "Oh my God, I'm smoking a half a pack a day. I'm going to get lung cancer." Nope. Or when I do have, a little bit extra, maybe not just one glass at my cousin's wedding sort of situations, I don't go into a shame spiral the next morning. I also don't have a hangover the next morning. It's just alcohol. It's really not a big deal. It's just another one of the energies that exist that I chose and decided to imbibe that night. As long as I stay out of shaming myself, out of shadow, then I can do anything and it's not negatively impacting me, because what matters is what I make matter. If I made it matter that I was smoking cigarettes, if I made it matter that I'm drinking, then I would probably feel like absolute garbage after I've drank a whole bottle of wine and smoked a half pack while hanging out with my friends. Because I'm like, I feel so, I did these things and I'm so shameful, and now I'm gonna have to go on this huge cleanse to be able to speak to my angels again. No, I bet you anything that Metatron was pouring the shots. That's how I feel about it. Really though, like, what matters to you? Does it matter to you that you have all these stories, all this trauma, all this abuse? Because, honey, I'm sorry, we all do at this point. Again, I'm not trying to be mean. I know that we have all gone through our own different versions of hell, but we've all been there. You're not special because you were traumatized as a child. So stop acting like you are. You're special because you're you. You're special because no other version of you has or will exist. You're special because whatever hopes and dreams you have on your heart are yours and yours alone. And if you actually showed up the way that a motherfucking dragon would show up, you would have it already. And you all know this already. And this is not my way of shaming you. Please, God, know that I'm not doing that. But let's just all take a second to like know that if we actually showed up 100% like a dragon to all of the things, we would have that $5,000 in our account in the next 48 hours. Because a dragon would. A dragon would say, oh, I got to go get 5,000 coins. Cool. I'm going to go get it. And they do whatever, and they go on their quest, and they go fly around to wherever they needed to, and dive into the depths of wherever, and find Atlantis, and find a giant treasure chest, and find their 5,000 coins, and they'd go sit back at their hoard, and they would just have it. And anything and anyone that showed up in the middle, they would just deal with it as it came. They wouldn't be worried. Oh my God, what if there's a night? Oh my God, what if there's this? What if the anxiety and worry and all of that and depression? Like, ugh, it's not in the present moment. What's right here, right now is all that matters. And am I in alignment with the feeling that I have when I feel my lover's hand in my hand, or the 5,000 in my bank account, or when I'm in my dream house, or when I'm traveling the world, or when insert desire here has already happened? Because that's what you're really chasing. You think that when you have the $5,000, you're going to feel a certain way. Feel it now. And then only move from there. And if in a present moment you get struck with this grief of your teenage self fighting you and saying, I don't deserve this, and why did you do this? And feel it, hold her, be okay with it, cry it out, do the things, shake it off. Right? Dragons are not coming out of the ocean all sloppy wet, like, I need a towel. No, they just do a shake. And then they open their wings and they fly again. And that's okay. It's okay. We're human. We're supposed to feel. It's the reason why we're here. If we didn't want to feel human emotions, we wouldn't have incarnated as humans. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is not emotional bypassing. This is being now, right now, in every moment, and choosing as often as possible to feel like a big, shiny, badass dragon. And every now and then, maybe not. And then even then being like, yeah, you know what? That sucked. I didn't like having a 45-minute cry in the shower. Damn, do I feel better now that I got to feel all those feelings that have been in there for 20 years that I never got to feel 20 years ago. Right? When that teenager gets to throw her temper tantrum finally after 20 years, it feels so good. But I don't let her drive. She doesn't get to like stay making decisions for me afterwards. Oh my God, she'd wreck my business in 5 days, probably. If I let my teenager be in charge. But when I'm going to go sign a new client or when I'm putting out a new program, yeah, my teenager comes right up and she's like, remember how we didn't get into college? Remember how, remember all these things? And I'm like, uh-huh, I do remember all that, honey. What did you not get to feel back then? What do you need to feel right now? Let's feel it. Because you can only feel it to heal it. And the more you feel it, the reason why I was crushed by the weight, crushed by the fibromyalgia, crushed by the degenerative arthritis at the age of 21. Again, I was diagnosed with these things that are usually not diagnoses for people in their early 20s. Because my victimized mind was running rampant. I was crushed by the weight of my anxiety, of my trauma, of these stories that I had been telling myself on repeat. And now I get this beautiful, brilliant life where I get to speak to however many of you from around the world on a Sunday before I'm going to go on a hike with my boyfriend and my dog and have whatever beautiful adventures I'm having today, before I'm running my 5-day Just You June challenge, which is a free challenge, by the way, y'all. So if you want to join me, please, again, find me on social media. I get to do this. I get to have this awesome life. And I get to write books and I get to travel and I get to dream about being on stages and I get to wonder what it's going to be like when I'm able to homeschool my kids full time again and travel the world. And I get to live in this energy of I'm so awesome that I could be president. Like no one and every one of you would vote for me. You already know it. You know you would vote for me. You already have the Caryn for Prez like bumper sticker on your car. Because that's the vibration that I give. I want to lead more people into this, because if I'm going to delude myself into things that matter, what matters to me is that every single man, woman, and child on this planet has access to clean water, healthy food, safe shelter and sanitation, open source education, medicine from east, west, north to south. That's my core belief, that every person has a right to that, an inalienable right to their basic fucking needs being met. And I will fight every day until my last breath at 774 and for that to happen. Because if we think about it, that's what the ascension is, right? Like we want to talk, but what is it really? It's that we're pulling ourselves out of this dualism. We're pulling ourselves out of ideas of poverty. We allow for the fact that America throws away enough food every year to feed Africa 3 times. And we found those solutions. We found a way to clothe all the children. We found a way to stop all the wars. How? I don't know. That's a mystery. But it's because someone in here knows the cure to cancer already. Someone in here is the one who is going to make sure all the nukes never get, they all get put wherever they need to be disarmed. But it only happens when you decide, again, I'm going to say the word decide so many times, it's going to make you crazy, that you are that person, that your crazy delusional dream is the only thing that matters, and that no one and no thing has power over you, because you are a motherfucking dragon and you are source incarnated, and that is why you came to this planet at this time. And you have all of the lifetimes before to pull from. My last name is O'Malley. It was a chosen name, but she's one of my ancestors, Grace O'Malley. I don't know if you guys know about her, but she was the pirate queen of Ireland back in the 1500s. Real good friends with Queen Elizabeth, but it was a secret friendship. Shh, don't tell anybody. She's also one of my past lives. I knew from a very young age that she was one of my ancestors. My dad had told me, and I knew my ancestry and all of that, my lineage. But it was when I was deep in ceremony one time, deep in meditation, working on some money block stuff, that I found and came to know that she's also a past life of mine. And we often incarnate into the same bloodline because it's easier to pull that energy and that knowledge when you still have the DNA and the genetic coding inside of your bloodline, right? Wild. Like, okay, so when I got divorced, I changed my last name to O'Malley so that I could honor that. Like her badassery, my bigness. This woman almost became obsolete. They tried to erase her from history. And it wasn't until the early 1900s that a historian even found any of her records, and we were able to know as much as we know about her now. Why? Because men didn't like how successful she was. We would all be speaking Spanish if it wasn't for her. She came up behind the Spanish Armada and attacked them from the back. Wild stuff that we learned, but it was like 400 years that she was buried and no one knew about her because they didn't want her to. Now I could sit here and bitch about the patriarchy and all of the other things, but that seems like a waste of my time. And I could bitch about feminism and all the other things, also seems like a waste of my time. Instead, how can I gather this knowledge knowing that I can connect to my Sirian self, my Arcturian self, all of my past lives, all of my future lives, all of my everything, all of the ways that my energy is iterating, because the past and the future aren't real. Time is an illusion. Time is a social construct. You can pull power from anywhere, any experience, and have it in your physical form now. And that's how you change your life overnight. That's how alchemy really works. You decide, you make a decision, and decision, like, since we're word nerding a little bit, decide means to cut off. And what I love about that is when you decide on coffee, you're saying no to tea, water, orange juice, Capri Suns, all the rest of it, right? I decided on coffee, which means I said yes to coffee, but I also said no to literally everything that wasn't coffee, right? And it's that same level of dedication and discipline. Someone asked earlier, like, why don't we believe that we can do this or something like that? It's because you don't just decide on coffee. You're like, I'll take the coffee and a water. Ooh, maybe a vodka cranberry. I don't know. And then, no, you have to decide. You decide 5 grand is in your bank account on Tuesday. You do nothing except for whatever leads you. And this could be dancing in the woods. It doesn't have to be logical. It doesn't have to be anything, but you decide that I'm going to only follow the feeling that I have when I have $5,000 in my bank account and watch it happen. It's crazy. It's so cool. It's magic. And that's what dragons are. They're magic. They're crazy. They're cool. They're big. They're wonderful. Okay, that was a lot. How are we all feeling? Hi, Kevin.
Authentic. I think we're realizing how authentic you are. It's beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you all for having me. This was so beautiful and fun. I'm gonna leave. Is that okay? I'm gonna leave a little something for you guys in the comments if you want it. It's my dragon meditation that I'm gonna give y'all for 11/11 instead of normally it's 47. It's a 5-day dragon medication series. I love it. And then also if you guys want to jump into Just Be You 5-day challenge, that find me on Facebook and we're running it in my Facebook group.
Yeah.
Okay?
Send me all those links and I'll put them in all the notes and send them out to everyone.
Perfect.
Thank you for your
all.
time. It was amazing. And everyone sending lots of love.
Thank you guys. Love you. It's fantastic. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.